Hi folks, so I made a all wood pencil for my Supernote. It's got a Supernote refill in there and it works great and I'm really enjoying it. And I made some clips of the process of making it, but they're also clips of me like figuring out how I'm going to approach it. And so they're a little bit scattered, there's some gaps. So basically, I want to make a quick intro before we get into 30 minutes of kind of confusing footage and just give you some context. And then you can decide whether you want to commit to the other 35 minutes of this video. Anyway, so basically I got an Oto mechanical pencil that's already hollow. It's not wide enough to accommodate the thicker part of the Supernote refill insert. That's the stylus part, represented just with photographic quality right here. That's exactly what it looks like. So anyways, what I had to do is widen this out and then make a new tip using just a regular wood pencil that I split. If you look, pencils kind of have seams. You can see on this one, it's on that side and that side. So anyways, I split along the seam, then you've got the graphite. I removed the graphite and then like dug out these channels so that it fits the flange for the Supernote refill insert. And then I think you'll kind of understand what this is in the back and how these come together. But when I did it, I was kind of putting this thing in as the last step. I think if I were to do it again, I would have this tube in there and then I would put the insert, like the refill part, in with like this cut approximately to depth, and then I would try to put the cap on and I would see if I get the tip sticking out. Just in terms of like final assembly, I think that would have been a better way to do it, because the way I was approaching it was like, get the insert kind of into the tip, get the tip into the shaft, and then put this in from the back. And so, if you do this and you get to the end, maybe it'll kind of make sense what I'm trying to say, where it might be better to like think about doing it from the front. And then another thing I didn't mention is that the eraser, this is like a donor eraser that I got from a regular pencil. And to get it, I had to cut the like metal ferrule that holds it. Because if you just try to pull an eraser out of a pencil, you'll just rip it in half. So if you get a razor blade and like slice this metal part, then you can extract that. And then I just like cut a V-shaped notch into it in the center, and so it fits nicely down on that. And it's basically just decorative. I mean, it would work as like a touch stylus, but you can't draw with it or currently erase with it. That's one feature that it'd be nice, like if this actually had like a functional eraser on the back, that'd be really cool. But at the same time, what I'm going for here is like a very simple wooden pencil, so I don't know if I want to even like pack it full of features. So anyways, hopefully that gives you some context before you commit to watching the rest of this. It's definitely not like a full-fledged guide, but if this seems like a fun project for you, then it's not crazy difficult. It's just a matter of maybe like being careful and just saying, okay, I'm gonna like chill out and with a little bit of sandpaper and just like gradually get things so they fit together and things like that. Yeah, so I'll leave you to the rest of the clips. All right, cheers. Hi folks, I fell off a ladder yesterday, so I'm sticking to low risk indoor projects currently. And one thing I've been wanting to do is to make a wood pencil for my Supernote Nomad, which is kind of a silly idea. I can't really justify it, but I just think it'd be cool to have a wooden pencil and use it on my e-ink tablet. The Heart of Metal pen is awesome, but anyways, that's what I'm going to do, and it's going to start with tearing down this pencil, and I couldn't find any like guides or explanations, so I thought maybe I'd just show the teardown process, and then hopefully I end up successfully making this into a writing utensil for the Nomad. So that's the plan. So far, all I've done is the eraser pops out of this little piece of metal, and then that tip just sticks in that tube in there. If you can see it. Yeah. And so all I've done so far is I grabbed the tip with a pair of pliers. All right, I got it out. And it was just a matter of gripping the tip and kind of carefully pulling it out without like twisting the pencil and cracking it or anything. And then once I got a little bit of space, I could just grab it at that thick part. So this is kind of gnashed up, but the clicky mechanism is actually still clicking. But anyways, that's not really what I'm looking for. All right, so I think I have a plan coming together. I cut this plastic piece about halfway down that metal, and now it fits into this. You can just, okay, yeah. So, and then this piece that was pushed into the front, that was the tip of the pencil, that actually fits snugly into the hole in the back as well. So I can push this in, and it'll be like a snug fit inside of there. And if I cut this to the right length, then I can slide the insert in whatever amount that I want, and then it will get held in place. Because ideally, I think you secure it from that back part. I really don't want to mess this up. Okay. Ideally, I think you secure it from the back. I could just sand it down until I can push this in and the flange there secures it. But there's this spring in the back. And I did like a test run, and it works fine, just kind of snug up to the flange. I think all this is a safety feature, where if you're really pushing really hard, it won't damage the nib and it won't damage your Supernote, which is a good idea. It's possible that there is some functional use for it. Like at first I thought the pen would sort of detect that it was being pressed by like moving a magnet inside a coil or something. I don't really think that's what's going on. Maybe it is. But regardless, I'm going to try to secure it from the back and have a little bit of room in here, just kind of as that safety feature. And then actually this part actually compresses too in the back, because that was the mechanical pencil mechanism. So I don't know if I'll just probably leave that. And then I spent like 45 minutes sanding this open, and then just periodically checking until the flange was sliding in. And I just rolled up some coarse sandpaper. I had used up a few of these, but and then just spun it around in there gently. Because I did some test runs. First, I was like, well, I'll just buy like a 12-pack of pencils for $2, and then I'll remove the leads from the pencils. And I tried a bunch of different ways, and it is not an easy process, and it's really easy to split these wood outsides, because they look like they're cut from one piece of wood, but actually if you look, there's seams on opposite sides that they tend to split on. So anyways, that's where I'm at right now. And I'd like to sharpen a pencil and cut off the tip so that I can have a cap for this on the front. So that's where I'm at. All right, so making the tip for this thing has turned out to be a real pain in the fibula, which is what I might have fractured when I fell off that ladder. Anyways, I tried a few different things. I had an oak dowel, and I thought I'll just drill a hole down the center of that and then carve it down and then like run it through a pencil sharpener. That didn't work. It's real hard to get the hole centered. Maybe if you had like, I don't know, a drill press or a lathe. I mean, if you have a lathe, I don't think you'd have much trouble with this. But basically what I ended up doing is just taking a regular pencil, and then they have a seam. I found it's usually on the side with the like text on it. And so I just split it lengthwise and then took out the graphite, and then I just opened up the inside more. And this won't quite fit because of the like flange thing there. But what I think I'm gonna do is use a little bit of wood glue to put this back together as one piece. And then I'm gonna cut it to a length where it stops just before that flange. And then make some sort of plan for how it's going to, I think, just like snugly slide into the end of the shaft. So that's the plan. All right, I hope I'm closing in on the end of this project. So I've got my pencil tip, and you can see, obviously I split it in half, and I used just a little bit of glue and got it back together. And that dark strip is because some of the graphite just ended up like rubbing off. I think if I were to do it again, what I would probably do is after I split the pencil, I would use like some blue painter's tape to like protect the wood from getting graphite on it. Because once you get it on there, it's like really hard to get off. I think, you know, once this is on there, like from a distance and most angles, like I don't think that's gonna bug me that it's there. So yeah, I've got, you probably can't see it, but I put a little bit of a mark like going around the perimeter at about where this would meet up with that flange. So I think I'm gonna cut it a little bit back from there, and I just need to open up that section enough to fit the flange, and then I'd like the tip just barely sticking out, and then I just have to get the length of this right and put it together. And all right, I've been doing this for a while, and actually this is pretty representative of my past week, just sitting around watching Stargate Atlantis, sanding down pencils in various ways. Anyways, I've got it so the flange fits in pretty well, but it doesn't want to, I can't like push it deep. The tip isn't coming through, but like the depth I've got it to gets me to about there. Anyways, I think it's this part where it gets wider, and I really don't want to be like mashing up these wires or anything. So I'm fussing around with sandpaper. Throughout this whole process, I've been really tempted to like, oh man, I could make fast work of this with like a drill or get my Dremel or whatever. But with my first go, when I was like trying to just like hollow out pencils to get the insert in, it's really easy to like crack things when you get power tools involved. So the slow and careful approach is the way I've been approaching this. And if a person did want to just start with a pencil and get an insert in there, I think the key would be to get one that's like a plain wood pencil instead of the yellow painted ones. Because it's, if you crack these apart to get the graphite out, it's really hard to get the yellow ones back together with a clean, like without an obvious seam. Whereas the wood ones, I think you have a better shot. If you can keep the graphite powder off of the seams and not, and like keep that sort of like the break sort of clean, so that it meshes back together. So anyways, I'm gonna keep sanding this down, and hopefully I'll get to a point where I can fit that insert in there. And then I'm gonna try to go for like a press fit. So like I'm gonna shave this little section down so that it actually fits inside of here. That's the plan, because I can't get the whole insert in through the back. This opening is not wide enough. So I don't want to like lose access to the front of this. So yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, progress. I got the tip to start popping through. As you can maybe see, I don't know which angle, it's not like centered. So I have a little bit more work to do to give it a little bit of breathing room so I can have it coming out at a nice angle. But I like this depth where it's just like barely, just a tiny little lead sticking through. If you get, you can kind of just barely see the metal there, but like for the most part, it's just like, just a pencil with a lead sticking out. I like that look. Okay, so now I've got, like, I ran this razor blade around the perimeter, and I'm like coming in from the outside and just shaving just a tiny bit to that line so that I have like a clean, crisp edge there. And then this part's gonna be shaved down. That's the plan. And I really hope I don't screw anything up at this point because I'm getting close. All right, I'm making progress. So I got a fresh razor blade in case anybody was worried about that. I definitely have been slow to realize that you're allowed to just use up razor blades. You don't have to keep using the same one over and over. Anyways, I was real careful with like the depth and then just shaving, and then I've been like wrapping some sandpaper like this and then just gently spinning it to just gradually shave it down and get that little step. I don't have a lot of thickness to work with. So basically, if I keep shaving this, then I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna shave away that thin part and there's gonna be nothing there. And then it'll be just down to these two sides. So I think I'm gonna switch and start work on widening this a bit more because I have more material to spare there. So I'm gonna switch to sanding this out. And I'll let you know when that's done. Getting closer. So the tip just barely is starting to fit inside there. So I'm gonna keep widening the opening. And I have been trying to like keep the edges flat. Like I'm not trying to like make a point in there where it gets narrower. I just want like a channel that's like a fairly consistent width, if that makes any sense at all. All right, it's all together. I'm trying to withhold judgment. Currently, the color difference between these two has me worried, but what I'm gonna do is basically just kind of start sanding this junction until it's a smooth transition. The other thing that I didn't think much of is that, you know, I've been like sanding this rather than running it through a pencil sharpener, and there's like a curve to it, which, I don't know, I think maybe it's fine. Anyways, oh, I could probably try writing with this thing. Yeah, it seems great. And then like with this, yeah, I don't need to tilt it more than like this. So yeah, that's great. So I think I just need to secure it from the back. So I need to do this tube part and then stick it in the end. I got an eraser out of another pencil because this one, where is it, or wherever it is, that one's like a smaller size. This one isn't a perfect fit, but it's close enough. Yeah, so I guess the question is, do I shave this down first, or do I get the tube in from the back? I don't know, we'll see. All right, so with the insert in there, and I slide this tube in, I kind of can feel some resistance like here, but then if I get it lined up right, I slide over that metal piece, and I just put a little mark for how deep I get, and then I just eyeballed it, how far it is to like where the actual wood starts, and then when I push this in there, I can see that that second mark like gets to the edge. So I feel pretty good about that. So that mark to the left is like basically my full inserted depth that I'm going for, and it looks like, if I can get this lined up, it looks like 65, maybe 65.5 millimeters. I don't know why it's not looking, I'll double check it, but that's kind of what I'm going for. And so I'm gonna make sure not to cut it too short, so I might do like 66 millimeters. And this spring mechanism actually takes some pushing to depress it. So I don't want to like have this spring super compressed. I want to get the length just about right where it's supposed to be, so it's not under a ton of pressure. Because if I push hard enough, it'll like pop the front out here, or anyways, that's the plan. I might even go in here with some sandpaper and just give this like a little bit more breathing room so it doesn't take a lot of force to push this in. But I'll let you know, and it might be pretty close to finished for the next step. All right, I cut this to just a hair under 66. And then I have been going in with the sandpaper and widening this out and just, you know, pushing it in. Fortunately, I can like feel that point where it like touches the metal bar, and then I can like feel it slide past there before I have to start putting force on it to get this to fit in there. So I know I'm not gonna like just blast the whole thing out the front just from my pushing. It's gonna be a question of whether the spring puts too much pressure on it. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of show you this step, because at some point I'm just gonna call it good and it's gonna be in there for keeps, pretty much. All right, it's in there. I kept sanding, but I had a real light touch with it because I do want it to like hold it in place. So anyways, I pushed it in like to full depth, and this looks about the same. So next up, I'm gonna do some careful sanding around this. And obviously I don't wanna sand the nib off. And then there's probably gonna be a little bit of modification of the eraser to get it to sit in there. And then I think it'll be done. Okay, so I got it together, and overall, I'm happy with it. Maybe I have a picture that I'll pop up here, but the tip looks a little bit funny just because like this is a little bit rounded, and it's just like not the same wood. It's not exactly the same color, and so it's not gonna look like a perfect match. And then anyways, as I was using it, and it's really pleasant to use, I think this was just like wiggling a little bit, and then with the tension from the spring in the back, it wasn't like popping off, but I could just kind of see the seam starting to show. So anyways, I think just like with how little material is there, this just, unless it was a lot longer, I don't think a press fit is gonna be enough. Anyways, long story short, despite my initial hesitations, I'm gonna glue this tip in. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna put the tip or the glue inside this hole. I don't want any glue around the like outer surface or anywhere that could be visible. But I'm gonna get glue in there, and then I'm gonna put the insert in here, and then just press it in place. I guess I'm gonna take the pressure off while I do that. Yeah, and then let it dry, and then I guess I'll do a final demo. All right, it's done. And I'm happy with it. tip is glued in now. And I did actually shave just a tiny bit off of the plastic tube attached to the back. And then I kind of like softened the spring action a little bit. Maybe I can show you using my new pencil. So in the back here, there's like another metal part, kind of like this. And then let's say the spring starts back here. The spring goes around here, like up to that metal part. And I just took the first couple like rotations of it and just like push them up over this spring. So now it goes like this, and then it's like up here, and the spring stops in the back here. And then like when I first put it in here, basically if I really push on it, it kind of just gives a tiny bit. It's still, it's still pretty tight as far as, it doesn't feel sloppy. So anyways, it's awesome. It feels like a pencil. I really like just having a pencil, because as much as I love the heart of metal, at heart, a lot of times I'm not like a refined novelist. I'm just like screwing around, and like, like when I was using just like notebooks and stuff, I'd grab a pencil for like sketching out projects or things like that. And yeah, I just like the feel of a wood pencil. So that's the story. And like I said, I could see improving this. I think like my only problem is with the tip, and actually in this light, can't hardly see anything wrong with it. But the material at the end there is pretty thin, so it's possible that maybe this won't be super durable if I'm putting pressure on it, but like so far it seems great. So yeah, if I have trouble with this, then maybe I'll make a version 2.0, and like I said, I might try to do it with like a regular bare wood pencil, but I don't know, maybe this is the best route to go. So anyways, obviously this isn't like a detailed guide or anything, but you all can see kind of how I approached it. Anyways, in all likelihood, I'm probably going to set aside this sort of like line of projects and just be happy that now I have a pencil for my Nomad. But I think there are a lot of possibilities out there. So maybe there'll be a part 2 eventually. So yeah, thanks for coming along for the ride, and yeah, have a good one. Bye.